What up, guys? This is your boy DZD, aka the Drink Kang, Purple World Entertainment, live from the Dungeon Palace Studios once again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining me on this video. If you have not, make sure you click that subscribe button and click that bell notification so you can get notified when I drop my videos just like this one. Speaking of that, I got a hot video for you guys. We're gonna get into some basic ways of manipulating your samples to fit what you want them to do. When we pull a sample in, sometimes the sample is good and it's nice, but we want to make it our own. So I'm just gonna go over just some very simple basic ways inside of the MPC software that you guys can manipulate your samples and get your own effects and your own way of sampling. Just remember, guys, these techniques, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about your creative process, your creative mind, and what you guys can take to the next level and do with it. So just keep that in mind as I take you through these steps. So without saying too much, let's jump inside the MPC software and start sampling. Let's do it. All right, peeps, we are live inside the MPC software with the sample loaded up. So we're gonna take you through just some of those tips. That way you guys can get a good understanding of how to manipulate your samples and what you can do to them. This is the whole entire sample. And right from this green bar to this red bar is the loop that I extracted. So when I extract that loop from the sample, it gives me another sample that I can work with, just that loop. That way I don't have to worry about the whole entire sample, and I can go back and get pieces from the big sample if I want. But I take out exactly what I want from the sample. So I'm gonna show you, let's pitch this down a little bit. I'm gonna show you the piece of the sample that I picked out. I want to keep the pitch of the sample, that kind of dragging feeling, but I just want to speed it back up to a nice tempo. So we're going to go to process, and I'm going to go to time stretch. This is one of the ways that you guys can manipulate your samples. You can time stretch it. I have a video on time stretching, how to time stretch, what it does, all that good stuff like that. I'm going to leave a link in the video description for you guys to check that out. But this is one of the main ways that I use to manipulate my samples. I'll time stretch it. That means that I want to keep the same tone of the sample, but I want to speed it up or slow it down to where it fits the BPM that I want. So right now, when I pitch this down, it made the sample a little slow and it drags. So I want to keep that same exact pitch, but I want to speed the sample back up to where it keeps the pitch, but puts it back in a nice tempo. So that's what we're going to do with time stretching. So right now, we're going to put it on 6, and let's put it on 32, because we got 32 beats in the sample. So right now, the MPC is picking up that the sample is at 132.94. So we're going to change that to, let's do 173. That should speed it up just significantly. Do it? Let's see. Yeah, I like that 173. Gives it a nice tempo. So this is just one of the ways you time stretch your sample. You can pitch it down and then time stretch it back to a certain BPM. You can pitch it up and then time stretch it down to a certain BPM. That's one effect that you can use on your samples. One way you can use of manipulating your samples. All right, another way to manipulate your samples is just to simply reverse the sample or reverse some pieces of it. Now, this sample has a certain flow to it. Everything flows nice. So we're going to lay this sample down the regular way, and then I'm going to show you what I mean by reverse it. So I have the sample chopped up. All chops, and I got the BPM set. So we're just going to lay the sample down in sequence, and then I'll show you what I mean by reversing some pieces of it. Let's do it. All right, we got the sample laid down. So we're gonna go to track 3. Let's do that. And then we're gonna duplicate the sample onto track 3. We don't put the same sample, we wanna duplicate it because we wanna affect it a whole different way. If we don't duplicate it, then it's just gonna simply put that same program on track 3, and then whatever we do to it is gonna match the sample, but we wanna do something totally different. So we have to duplicate the program. So you just go to program and you hit duplicate. and it's going to duplicate that program onto track 3. There you go. And now we have the same exact program on track 3, but independent of track 2. This we can do whatever we want to this, and it won't affect the program on track 2. So I want to put an effect on a sample. Let's put an EQ on it. We're going to put an EQ on a sample, and we're going to take off all of the high end of the sample. All this high end. Kind of want just the low end of the sample. You know, something around there. Then we're going to take off just a little bit of this low end. All right, so now we're going to go to Program Edit, and this is where we're going to see all of our chops laid out in the program. Okay, all of our different slices. Now, the good thing about it is every time we pick a pad, if you notice on the screen, it's going to show us what slice we have, what slice the pad is. Here. So being that this sample follows a 1, 2, 3, 4, usually with samples like that, I'll reverse just the 4th chop. Then this one will reverse, the 4th one. So let's do that. We're going to pick that pad, and then we're going to just hit reverse. So now it's reversed. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing to the 4th one here. We're going to hit reverse. We're going to do the same thing to the 4th one there. Hit reverse. And then we're going to do the same thing to the 4th one there. Let's go on and solo track 3. We don't want track 2 playing right now. We're just going to solo track 3. And we're going to lay these chops down. So now when we put the 2nd track back in, the other sample back in, now we can put the EQ on there, and then we can EQ this sample to fit that. What you can even do is you can put a compressor on it. Let's put a compressor on it. Okay, let's do that. Let's hit 3 to 1. Then we're gonna bump up. We're gonna turn down the threshold. So you notice kind of like that lag and feel. Really, really nice way to manipulate your sample. Another good way of manipulating your samples is to put effects on it. And you can use outside effects such as VSTs and things like that you can throw in your sample. We're going to use halftime here, but there's SHAPERBOX, there's EFFECTRIX, there's all of these different ways that you can warp your sample with different VSTs. So let's pull up halftime. That's one of the ones that I like to use on samples. Halftime, there it is. And halftime just kind of slows your samples down, you know, kind of does the same thing that warping your samples does, but it puts it in time. So you can choose the bar and all that good stuff. I'll leave a link in the description for a video on this plugin just to show you what it does, but you can kind of mess with the band. So let's play it and see what it does to the sample. We went back to the first sample track that we have, not the one that we affected, that we reversed, the first one. And we're gonna turn on halftime and see what it does to it. Let's just play it just regular. All right, see how it's warping the sample? It's kind of slowing it down, but see this mix button right here? we can turn that down to where it starts mixing the regular sound in with the warp sound. So let's do that. Kind of like a warped, slowed down effect, but it still has the regular sample that's mixed in with that. So this is very good plugin to have. You can mess with some of the time variations on the sample just to kind of give it a different feel. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of different plugins that you can go and put your effects on your samples. You can warp them. I'll leave a link in the video description just to a few so you can check them out. But this is a really, really good way to affect your samples. Also, you can use the built-in Akai effects. The built-in Akai effects are here. The Akai professional effects. So they have different things like phasers, distortion. Let's do a phaser. Let's do a phaser sync and see if that does something. See, that kind of gives it like a warp sound. That phaser. Let's see if we can do, let's do a flanger and see. Let's do flanger sync and see if it does something. I kind of like the way it gives it that mechanical feel, you know? So let's keep that on there. Maybe we may be able to do something with that. So let's take it off of Solar and mix it in with the other track. Nice, really nice. I like that. Nice. So that's just another way that you can affect your sample. Just make use of some of the effects inside, whether it's inside of the Akai software, they have their own effects, or you can purchase VSTs that warp your samples and manipulate them and give them a different type of feel. The last way that I'm going to show you of manipulating a sample is just to simply add some things to it. Add some other instruments to it. Very simple. You know, that's the way that you kind of blend other things in that you have with the sample, make everything gel. That way the sample starts to carry a different feel. So what I did was I pulled up a piano VST that I have. Very, very good piano VST. So I went on ahead and I put the HORNET MK2 plugin to detect the key of the sample on the channel, on my master channel. We're going to hit reset and we're going to let that play. All right, it's telling me 53% to 63% that is G minor. So I kind of already know that because I trained my ear to pick up that. So now with our piano, all we do is go to the MPC here and we go to the pad perform mode and we put the key on G sharp minor. And now some of the notes should fit, if not all of them, they should fit. Let's let the sample play and we're gonna just play around with the keys a little bit. These chords fit nice with the sample, so just lay down some nice chords to kind of blend it with the sample, and then we'll play a little melody over it. Now we're gonna raise it up an octave. We're gonna play just a little melody. Let's see if we can freestyle something. See if we can kind of give it a different feel. Let's go to track 6 and we're going to duplicate this VST. See if we can go to a pad sound maybe. Let's see if we can lay that down. Just that pad sound in the background. Let's see if we can do that. And just like that, we have a different feel. You know, we just added some instruments onto the sample, kind of back it up, give it a nice feel. So this is a good way that you can manipulate your samples. All you do is find some instruments that blend well. Make sure you have the key of the sample. Blend some instruments in with it. You can put some effects on your instruments if you want. You can take the second method that we talked about, and you can put some effects on top of your instruments. That way, they kind of blend in and give the sample an authentic feel. So just make use of those. Just some simple ways that you can manipulate your samples. Never forget that it's all about your creative mind. There is no right or wrong way to do this. It's you and your mind and what your mind can come up with. So just make sure you have fun with it. You know, use your ear, and you'll come up with some hot stuff whenever you lay down your samples. I'm going to end the video here, guys. I hope you guys got an idea of some of the creative ways that you can flip your own samples. You can use all of these techniques. You can pick out some of these techniques, the ones that fit. But again, it's about you and your creative mind, what you hear and what you want to do with your samples. If you got any value from this video, make sure you smash that thumbs up button and also drop me a comment below. That way I can hear what you guys do and some of the techniques that you use when it's time for you to sample. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you follow my Instagram @TheDrankKang and also follow our new Instagram page @PurpleWorldBeats. That's my time. This is the kid DZD, aka The Drink Kang, Purple World Entertainment, live from the Dungeon Palace Studios, and I will check you guys in the next video. Peace out.